how
Mm-hmm.
do we how do we break the stigma that comes with mental health and that is taboo and you shouldn't do it? Like, what are some things that you think, from your point of view professionally, that we should do in our community and outside of our community, just in general?
Right, right. Yeah, one of the one of the most important things is like, especially what you're doing right now, is having these conversations about it, like being able to talk about it. People, a lot of people think, oh, they may be dealing with something, but don't want to say nothing about it because they feel like no one else is related. Like somebody else, they may think I'm crazy, or somebody may think I got anger issues or emotional problems or whatever. So if we able to talk about it more in the community, then more people will be able to relate to it. Like, you know what, I'm not the only one going through this. I'm not the only one. So that's why, you know, even when I saw that Jay-Z, sees a therapist, like, stuff like that, like, I'm like, they really swear. Like, then that's when I saw, when I read the comments, I'm like, man, they were like, everybody's like, wow, Jay-Z sees a therapist, or, that's like, the okay for me to go see a therapist. So it's like, unfortunately, but I wanted to be more than just somebody like Jay-Z of higher power, this who has this big name that is influencing others to go to receive, therapy, because the stigma around it, that you're thinking that you're going to be diagnosed with something that's not necessarily true. I mean, they may say, oh, one of the disorders you may hear a lot of whenever you're billing. That's the only reason why you may be diagnosed with something. But again, this all depends on what you're being diagnosed for. So, for example, if you may have just experienced a move, maybe you move from one state to another, and you're trying to find a job and you're trying to get settled in and things like that, and it's causing a lot of stress on you. Maybe you're not eating, maybe you're losing weight and stuff. You're trying to figure out why. It's not necessarily depression, but it could be adjustment disorder. And adjustment disorders don't last, so it's
Right.
not something that, people don't. Well, I want people to understand, like, you don't need medication for adjustment disorder, something like that. But what people don't realize is you don't always have to be on medication. That's not always the answer whenever you go see a therapist. It doesn't make you crazy to go see. You don't have to be, well, what people consider crazy to go see a
Right.
mental, to go see a therapist, because a mental health condition is a mental health condition. It's an imbalance of a chemical in the brain. And if it's, when you go to what I don't realize is, or what I don't understand is, when you break your arm, where you go? To
To the
the
doctor.
hospital.
Yep.
When you need eye, when you need your eyes checked, you go to the eye doctor or whatever. But when something is going on with you mentally, you rather stay at home and keep it to yourself. And I
Yep.
understand we do have, those who are religious and things like that. Yes, we do have, you can pray and things like that, but I feel like it's more, you have to do more, you have to do
Yeah.
more than just do those things. So, like, just breaking that stigma, that it doesn't make you crazy to go see a therapist. It doesn't make it means anything is wrong. Like, maybe you want to just go and learn how to process when stuff does start to happen. Whenever, maybe when life starts, stresses come. We human at the end of the day. Like, life is gonna happen to
Exactly.
us. So breaking that stigma, especially, we have more women who are more, are going to see a therapist than we have males. So, one of the things I try to specialize in is working with males, especially black males who, may have never seen a therapist before.
Right.
So I want to try to help, you know, build that rapport with them. A lot of people don't realize that's what's important too, building that rapport with a client. So
Exactly.
I've heard people say, oh, I tried therapy before, but um, I went the first time and all they did was ask me a bunch of questions. And I went the second time and there was more questions. You have to build rapport with a person, and you're not going to be comfortable with talking to a person if I don't know who you are. So, that first session, yeah, it's gonna be a lot of questions, because the therapist is trying to get to know you, to see what the problem is, where the root of it may be coming from, what things
Yep.
that may need to be worked on. Then, you may go to 3 or 4 sessions, and maybe you still are feeling, some depressive symptoms, but it doesn't happen overnight. You have to be, for one, willing to do the work, and you have
Exactly.
to allow that that therapist to build that rapport with you. Again, there are some therapists who, are bad at building rapport. So, but that's why, again, I try to get into it, so people can see I've been on both sides
Right.
of the table, the room, or whatever. I've been on both sides, so I wanted to be a face that somebody could be like, okay, I feel comfortable enough or secure enough to be able to express whatever trauma I've had in my life. And then also another stigma is that some people feel like they can't afford um mental health services. But there's programs out here that do pro bono services. They also accept different insurances. If you have insurance, your insurance covers it, so that's
Yeah.
another thing. So a lot of people think that they have to pay out of pocket, but it's ways around it. You can get your insurance to cover it for you. So um I think breaking that stigma is just, for one, again, talking about it. If we got to do more workshops, so that's what I've been trying to do anyway, trying to, create some workshops where I'm talking to people about mental health and things like that, especially back home, and around any of the urban communities that I'm in, because it's important for us to keep constantly talking about it so that people can see that, that it does work. It's not just something, somebody wants you to try, or somebody just trying to get your money to talk to you for an hour. It's more than that. Your friends and family can't help you the way a therapist can. Yeah, they can support you, and that's what we want you to have, especially a support system. But these, therapists or social workers, any clinician is clinically trained to understand what is going on with your brain, and what interventions could be used to help you process whatever it is that's going on.
Yeah, and like you said,